What's better than a week-long cruise on the world's largest ship? How about hopping off that ship and hopping on to another ship?
That sounds good. We will share what it's like to sail side to side as we take you with us on the step-by-step journey from one ship to the other.
Hi, I'm Crystal.
And I'm Marshall.
And welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, on our channel, we create videos about ships, trips, and tips. So today's kind of, what would that be? A ship and a tip?
I think it's a ship tip.
It's a ship tip. Ship's tips. Anyway, please subscribe if you haven't yet. And if you end up liking this video, give it a thumbs up.
Sounds good. Most people assume that swapping cruise ships on the same day is a recipe for disaster, logistics and everything. But we really wanted to see what it was like.
So we have done back-to-back cruises, and what that means is you stay on the ship from one cruise to the next. This was our first side-to-side where we got off one ship and went over to the other.
So to set the stage, we were on Icon of the Seas for 7 days, and we were moving in the same port of Miami, actually just one terminal away, to Freedom of the Seas. But this was kind of the big unknown. What would transpire and how would we make it from one ship to the other? Since this was so new to us, we reached out early on the cruise just to see what the process was.
Yes, I called guest services and asked about it, told them that we were cruising on Freedom of the Seas and blah, blah, blah. So she put me on hold for a minute. She came back and said, okay, well, it's still the port of Miami. So if you were going to Fort Lauderdale, we would transport you, which that's a great service. But because it was Port of Miami, we would be responsible for getting our own selves to the other terminal. But then, like 2 nights before the last night of the cruise, we got a consecutive cruiser letter on our bed.
It made us feel special.
Do you remember what it said?
Well, first and foremost, it was honestly about luggage. And we kind of knew this beforehand, but they were clear to say it was our responsibility to either take our luggage with us or put it out and have it sent to the terminal for us to pick up. But the bottom line, we were responsible for the luggage as we would normally be departing a ship.
The letter was also a little bit confusing to me because it also said when you step off the ship and get out to the port, there'll be transportation waiting for you to take you to the next ship. So then I was confused because that didn't really line up with what they had said down in guest services. So we still didn't know what was going to happen.
We were thinking maybe that's for the folks going to a different port, or traditionally the switch over in the port of Miami, it's over a half mile, if not close to a mile walk. So I would hope that they would have some sort of transportation, but in our case, it was just the terminal over, so it was maybe a 4 or 5 minute walk. So I think we were thinking no matter what, we can do it ourselves.
Yeah. Now, obviously, we're not the first consecutive cruisers, and they know what they're doing. So the first thing they did was they gave us luggage tags that were number 74. Everyone else had like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever, to 20 something, maybe even 30 something, but we were way at the end of 74. And that also coincided with our departure time for that morning, which was,
I think it was 9:15. The bottom line, we didn't have to kind of sneak and hang back and not hide, but lounge around, knowing they wanted us off. They gave us the permission to just stay as long as possible on Icon. Tough lift.
Yeah. So the night before, we packed up all our stuff. We put the special 74 tag on it, put that out to, I call it the street, but put it outside our room, and they came and picked it up that night. So our large bags would be waiting for us in the terminal. That morning, though, departure morning, was quite lovely.
There's something special when you know your vacation, your trip continues, even though a little trepidation with the logistics, but most everyone else is packing up to head to the airport, head home, and we're like, okay, let's figure it out, but we get to go on a new ship. So the first thing we did, we took a leisurely stroll to the main dining room for a nice breakfast.
And it was nice to like have multiple cups of coffee and like talk to the waiter and like just hang out like we had not a worry in the world.
That's true. So we kind of closed down the main dining room and people are scurrying around trying to get off the ship, and we were just walking through the Royal Promenade. And I remember taking a number of photos still.
Yes, that's right. So we made our way over to the Diamond Lounge, or the Crown Lounge they call it, because we thought, well, that's gonna be a nice quiet place to hang out. We walked in and met a lovely couple, Linda and Charlie Brown. Those were their names.
Sounds like we should start into a song. So yeah, it was really enjoyable. And again, the key word is relaxed, even though we just didn't really know how we were going to get over to the other ship. But we had good conversation, and then we finally headed down into the terminal, and it like smacked us in the face because it's, a major turnover day of 6,000 people. And there was a lot of commotion.
We went to number 74. Found our luggage, no problem, just sitting there waiting for us. And so as we were grabbing our suitcases, the porters come over with like big dollies and say, do you need any help with your luggage? And we said, oh, I don't think so, because we're actually going to another ship here in Miami. And he said, no problem.
And we were like, really?
So Johan was amazing.
It is more than amazing. There's something when you're not sure what you're going to do, to have somebody who's like knows what's what.
Yeah.
And he powered us through security, through immigration, and then down the sidewalk we went. And I'm not saying people seem to be like being thrown left and right.
He was like a plow truck.
It's,
That's all I could think of.
And we were behind the plow truck.
Yes.
So we easily made it to the next terminal.
Yeah, he was amazing. He literally brought us right to the next terminal. He said, here, you just take this elevator up to 2. And we literally, when we took the elevator to 2, we got off the elevator and there was the entrance, the line to get onto Freedom of the Seas. And our sail pass on the app said, what was it called? Express
Pass or express boarding.
So we didn't know what that was, but there was a special line for Express Pass. So we were like the third couple in line. The other thing that I did do before we ever left the house to get on to Icon was I printed our luggage tags for Freedom of the Seas. So we had those all ready. So I just swapped out the tags real quick while we were there in the terminal and put the new luggage tags on for Freedom of the Seas. So we went and dropped those off at the porter, which by the way, we were at Terminal AA in Miami, which is MSC's terminal. And they have the porters right there. So we didn't have to go back down the elevator or whatever. The porters seemed to be everywhere, were they not?
They were everywhere, and plugged to MSC in the newest terminal there, everything's on one floor, which I kind of mentioned all the time. I thought it was really good that you didn't have to take escalators up and down to get to the ship. It was literally one floor. Made it great, fast.
And they had a nice sized waiting room, and that was the other thing. We did have a bit of a wait. They did let us in, but then the ship wasn't ready to accept guests yet, so there was a nice seating area. Do you remember why we couldn't get on the
It
ship.
was the CDC doing a food inspection, a health inspection, which I can tell you, we learned later, Freedom of the Seas passed with flying colors. They even had a crew party that they did so well.
Oh. Well, aren't you Mr. Knowledge?
I thought that was very nice, you know, for the crew.
One thing I have knowledge about is the bathrooms. The bathrooms at the terminal, the MSC terminal, I did have to use, were clean, they were bright, they were spacious with lots of stalls. So just in case, you know.
So the MSC terminal, clearly 2 thumbs up. We have sailed MSC, so you should check out to see whether we thought the cruise ships and the whole MSC vibe was also up to snuff.
In the meantime,
Now
back to Freedom.
While we're waiting for the inspection to finish, let's just make sure that we're clear. The luggage works smoothly, you're responsible, that's terrific. But again, as we mentioned, you really need to be comfortable with your transportation. Not every side-to-side is going to be the terminal next door. So check with your cruise line, whether it's Royal, Carnival, another one, to see if they have free transportation to your terminal or to another port and another terminal in that port, and whether it's included or there's a fee involved, or if you're on your own, which means you probably have to connect with an Uber to get to the next ship. After about 25 minutes of waiting for the inspection to finish, we were one of the first to go down the gangway and enter Freedom of the Seas pretty much all to ourselves, empty, with just a few dozen other people.
So it was still fairly early. The ship was mostly empty. There was only suites and pinnacles on board, and then us, the express board people. We still don't know why we had express board, but we'll take it.
For sure.
And we had the ship almost to ourselves.
Yeah, there's something nice about leaving the Royal Promenade on Icon pretty much empty, and then walking down a new ship an hour and a half later on another empty Royal Promenade. It's kind of a perk of the side-to-side.
Yeah, it was nice not to have any lines anywhere. So if you wanted a specialty coffee or some other drink or whatever you wanted to do, it was pretty chill.
As a recap, I think it really boils down to just a couple logistics to make this as smooth as possible. The biggest one is transportation. And again, as I mentioned, just find out beforehand and plan accordingly. The luggage really takes care of itself if you know where you're bringing it to in terms of transportation.
And as a tip, make sure when you're printing your luggage tags for the first cruise, you go ahead and print your luggage tags for the second cruise.
Just makes it easier.
Yes. And if you find a good porter, like Johan, dang, that was amazing.
It's worth a big tip.
Yes.
Absolutely. That was amazing.
Yeah. But let us know if you've ever done a side-to-side before, if your experience was similar or different than ours. This was our first one, and we might want to do it again. We'd like to hear other stories of different experiences or if this was typical. So anyway, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Absolutely. Take care.